G'day folks, welcome to part 2 of Copier Teardown. Copier Teardown Tuesday actually, that works well. I managed to get the control panel off. It's just screwed to the metal rod through those diagonal holes in the bottom of it. Pretty straightforward. So you can essentially take it off and actually package it some way in which it won't get in the way when you palletise these things. You could fit 4 on a pallet, and if you take the front off it'll make the storage quite easy. Yeah, not much on the front of it really. I mean, that's where the control panel plugged in. Control panel's pretty basic, keypad and a simple LCD and touchscreen membrane. I think I've torn one of them apart before. There's only a few screws, I might open that up. Scanner drive is a simple 2-phase motor, 3 wires, so essentially it feeds out or runs the scanner out at a set speed to feed the image to the image processor, and then rapids back. So it'll feed out, send to processor, and then straight back. That's all it has to do, so there's no point in having positioning and specific like an 6-phase or 8-phase stepper motor. That's completely unnecessary. What else is there? There's the backlight power supply, a pretty standard CCFL power supply that I'll need to harvest. I'm essentially just going to find where this plugs in, unplug it and remove the whole scanner assembly. As you can see right through there, this whole scanner is just a big flatbed A3 scanner that will come right off after I open it up. So let's have a look inside the scanner and start harvesting some more parts. Oh, well, let's have a look inside this first. Not that there's much in them, it's just a display and a keypad. Okay, pretty straightforward in the display. We have a control pad here for power reset and power on LED. We have the main control board with not an awful lot on there. There's a small crystal on there. Not much else. An inductor, a few caps, that's about it. There's a fuse, solid fuse. The LCD itself, now that's going to be an interesting one. It's made by Sharp. I've seen plenty of Sharp LCDs in the Minolta copiers. It's a Sharp LM089H B1T03, made in China. It's a fairly wide, it's a nice wide LCD, I'll give them that much. It doesn't look like they're even using the whole area. A fair bit of that is actually covered by the plastic surround. They're not even using the whole surface of that display. Looks to be a 7 or 8 inch wide display by 4.5, 5 inches high. Yeah, it's not a bad little display panel. I'll keep a hold of this for now. Okay, so the scanner's pretty straightforward. It's really just like your average flatbed scanner. You have the top glass to place your original on. Be careful to put that down without breaking it everywhere. You have your lamp and your, well, yeah, a lot of flatbed scanners did have moving mirrors, or at least one. It's been a while since I've actually dismantled a flatbed. A lot of them actually had the CCD on the lamp assembly and are all moved together. In this case, the CCD is mounted on the base and it uses mirrors, so no, your average flatbed scanner won't have these, but this will be mounted behind the lamp as part of a set assembly, a big plastic moulded box, and it'll all move together. So it's still a flatbed scanner. That flat flex ribbon there is power for the CCFL, which, if I recall correctly, glows green. They're a neat little CCFL. There's no huge guide rod. Like a lot of them had a 3/4 inch guide rod in them, like the early analog copiers, but there was a lot of mass to the optics and it was moving very quickly. Nowadays it's all just timed tension wires and Teflon coated rails. Those little rails in there have a Teflon strip across them, same with down there. So it's all done by cables. You can see them around there, around those little windlass drums. And that's all just driven by that puny little motor, compared with the old copiers that had giant servo motors on them. This one's just done with a tiny little stepper motor. Kind of pathetic by old copier standards, but it does the job and it works. And it's a lot cheaper to manufacture. Considering how fast these machines work and the kind of things you can do on a digital level, they're a lot better than an analog machine. Because all your image manipulation, your size changes, duplicating the image 4 times on a page, you couldn't even do that with an analog machine. At least as far as I know. Analog machine has to scan once to make a copy. It reflects it off a series of mirrors, then through a series of optics which are focused depending on the size that you want to reproduce, then down onto the photoconductive drum. That green drum that's in the back there would receive a direct reflection of the image that's on the glass. It had to scan once for every copy. This one just scans it straight to the brains of the unit, straight to the computer. It stores it there, it does any manipulations you want on the from the touchscreen control, and then it prints as many copies as you want, and it can scan any number of documents while it's printing that first one. So digital does have major advantages over analog. I just think analog's cooler. I will do a video on my analog copier. I'll strip it bare and just show it operating in all its analog glory, because it can punch out 40 pages a minute. It's not the fastest copier. I think 72 pages a minute was the fastest analog that I could see, at least as far as Minolta is concerned. But that's pretty impressive. Anyway, let's harvest this for parts and have a look at the optics. Yeah, this steel wire is pretty neat stuff. It's finely braided. It's almost like bead wire from a radial tyre. Sorry, not bead wire, but the tread radial steel belting. It's very finely stranded and woven, so it's handy for certain things. It's a little bit too fine to use on a line trimmer. I have tried it before, and once the plastic coating strips off, all these very fine strands just start disintegrating. While it's intact, it's lethal. It's really good on weeds, but it shreds too quickly. You need the coarser steel wire rope for that sort of job, or a circular saw blade if you've got a really good straight shaft line trimmer and no desire to keep your ankles. Oh no, you're tied in with that flat flex still. I gotta get rid of that flat flex. Yeah, he's got to come out first, and then I can get the scanner lamp and the mirrors out. Not that they're of any use, that is. I'll keep the scanner lamp and the power supply and that motor. That'll be about it. Maybe that optical stuff. I might just put together a bits box for the bloke who wanted the stepping motors, and if he's interested and keen on shipping a rather heavy little box of goodies, yeah, that'll be about it. I don't really have much use for it, but I can't bring myself to throw it in the bin just yet. It's the kind of thing that'll sit on the shelf for 12 months, then get thrown in the bin. So I'd rather dispose of it fairly quickly. And these things here should be paper size sensors. They will detect what size original that you've put on the glass and auto-select paper for the output side. Oh, sorry, the front of the machine's here, so if you put your original on the glass, these should detect its outer edge parameters and then compare it to known sizes. If it doesn't know the size, it'll just say select paper manually and select your exposure rate or magnification rate manually. Well, the scanner's somewhat gone. It doesn't take many screws to get rid of that. And a few cables. It's like 2, 4, 6, 8, 12 screws. That's about it. A few other little bits and pieces. One holding the flat flex ribbon to the main board in for the scanner CCD. I did accidentally pull on that board. I forgot to disconnect it when I pulled the scanner off, so it doesn't appear to be broken. I'll check over it anyway. Basic high frequency CCFL driver. Where is it? 1640 volts, 73 milliamps RMS. Danger! I have accidentally touched one of those before, and it leaves a nice little burnt patch and the smell of like burning hot dog in the air. They're not fun. So anyway, under this set of stairs should be that should be a paper cabinet, and that should be a switch mode power supply down there. Or no, actually that's the imaging unit. Where's the power supply? My power supply is probably down there where the power plug is. The older D'Alta 240s, I think they were, had them under, there was a curved output paper tray cover, and it had the switch mode power supply under there. This one obviously has the toner unit, imaging unit and so on under there. Oh, it could be under here. That's not a paper tray, that's just no man's land. Yeah, I can see very blocked fan filters. Power supply is probably down there. Primary input and filtering, and the main switch mode is probably under here. That's my bet anyway, because the rest of this looks like sealed cans, RF shielded cans, so that'll all be print server, logic, scanner and printer and laser control, that sort of thing. And yes, there should be a LED or a laser in here somewhere. It says class 1 laser device, so it won't be an LED based system, I hope. It should be laser based, I'd hope, with that kind of sticker. Yeah, and for the price too, you'd want it to be laser.